So this video is just trying to give you a bit of an indication of what to talk about when discussing Australia's current migration policy. So in terms of Australia's migration policy at the moment, it is around 70% skilled migration, and in terms of the numbers, we're immigrating around 190,000 people per year. As I said in the previous video, under this skilled stream migration, it is separated into four categories, with the first two the employer-nominated scheme, so being nominated by employers, as well as just general skilled migration, making up around 90% of that. Right, in terms of talking about current immigration policy, it's important that you can define what immigration policy is. So it's a strategic supply-side approach to managing the economy and number and composition of migrants to Australia and overseas. It's designed to encourage skilled workers into the country. And at the moment, the federal government's got a big focus on immigrating young English-speaking people into the economy that can make a valuable and ongoing contribution to the labour force. In terms of specifics, you want to be a little bit more specific, and we talked about this a little bit in class. Mention the fact that skilled migrants are selected as part of a skilled occupation list. So, skilled occupation list is for jobs where there are particular areas of skill shortage, and the number of skills on that list, or occupations on that list, has fallen from 400 to less than 190. So there are less and less jobs that are being qualified for people to come into Australia as migrants. The suitability of occupations for inclusion on the skilled occupation list is a two-step process. Basically, the first step involves identifying occupations that have supply constraints or skill shortages. And the second step is about assessing the medium to long-term skill needs of the economy for each occupation. So basically, that's a fancy way of saying, are these workers going to be needed in the long term? Are we going to have persistent skill shortages moving forward? If there are skill shortages within that industry and they are likely to persist, then we're more likely to take on new skilled migrants. In the past years, in terms of numbers, even though the occupations on that list has fallen, the numbers have gone up from 170 to 190,000, and these new migrants should help to bring new skills and new productivity and exert downward pressure to help boost our labour force. In terms of what candidates get assessed on, mainly their age, their English language ability, they also have to conduct a skills assessment, and they get assigned a certain amount of points based on their skills in a particular industry. So those with higher skills will generally receive higher points. So in terms of answering a question, so for example, explain the impact of immigration policy on aggregate supply and the current account, I want you to start your answers with some real clear focus on what immigration policy involves within Australia. So immigration policy is concerned with encouraging skilled migrants to enter the Australian labour force. Immigrants are selected as part of the skilled occupation list. The fact that the number of jobs on that occupation list has fallen, but the number of migrants has increased from 170 to 190,000. So make sure that you've got a good, clear link to what's happening at the moment before you start linking it to aggregate supply in the current account. So the increase in the level of migrants to Australia will increase the labour force and the participation rate. The new skills and innovation attributes of these migrants should help to boost productivity and reduce skill shortages. It will improve productivity in these industries as unskilled labour will often be substituted for skilled labour. So by getting in foreign workers that are good at what they do, this will increase our aggregate supply. The higher level of aggregate supply will improve our international competitiveness because there's lower prices. Firms will be able to lower their cost of production and boost efficiency. This will lead to an increase in exports as well as a decrease in imports because we're more productive, which should help to improve the net exports section of the balance of merchandise trade. Credits will rise, debits will fall, and the current account should fall, so that should lead to less pressure on borrowing. Make sure when you're linking something to external stability that you go through the CAD, but then you also explain the impact on either borrowing or our total level of net funding. So within your answer, you want to be defining key things about our current immigration policy, link it to the fact that our labour force will be bigger and will have access to more skills, then link that to our international competitiveness. You can use that term willingness and ability to supply. Firms will be more willing because they have lower production costs. They'll have a greater ability because they've got access to new skills going forward. Just one last question. Explain how any two of the following, we're just doing one of the two, so we're looking at immigration, has helped to boost our aggregate supply over the last 4 years. Again, talk about the fact that immigration policy in Australia is all about trying to promote skills. We have a skilled migration program where people are selected based on an occupation list that identifies skill shortages and therefore adds to the pool and skills of the labour force and improves the quantity and quality of labour resources. Businesses who wish to expand are more likely to find suitable labour. They'll have downward pressure on wages, cost of production will be lower, and this will help to boost productivity as well. People get new skills, and again will help to boost the ability and willingness of firms to produce. So within that answer, we've talked about the quantity and quality of resources and the ability and willingness of firms to produce, which will boost our agri supply.